Now we're standing in Patrick Henry's law office at Red Hill. This is really the only original building remaining from Patrick Henry's Red Hill. It's referred to as a law office, but in 1796, when Patrick Henry and his family moved here full time, he was pretty much done practicing law. But this was kind of his quiet place, his study. This might have been what you would refer to as his man cave. The law office here at Red Hill is divided and interpreted in two different ways. The room that we're standing in right now would have been the office, and then the other room, which we'll see shortly, is sleeping quarters, where some of the older kids might have come out and slept. This would have been where Patrick would have come for his reading and for his writing. We know that there are several letters that were written from Red Hill, some important letters that were written to Washington or Governor Lee that were written from Red Hill, and they were probably written in this room. This is also where Lucy Henry, Patrick Henry's great-granddaughter, the last Henry to live here at Red Hill, this is where she lived out the remaining 25 years of her life after the main home burned in 1919. So let's take a look at the law office at Patrick Henry's Red Hill.
One of the first items that we're going to look at here in Patrick Henry's law office is a table. And it's not just any table, it's a special table that actually belonged to Patrick Henry's father. Well, this particular table is a reproduction. The original table is over at Scotchtown, which was Patrick Henry's home in the 1770s. That's outside of Richmond in Hanover County. But this particular table is unique because it can be folded up and look like a nice piece of furniture in the parlor. But if you wanted to put something like a map or a large document on it, the four arms would fold out to create a larger space where you could place and unroll a larger document. The next item that we're going to look at is a desk that is believed to have been Patrick Henry's desk here at Red Hill. We are fortunate that it has worked its way back to us here. While at Red Hill, Patrick Henry penned some very important letters. It was here that he declined several federal positions that were being offered to him by Washington, and it was here at Red Hill that he wrote letters to Washington and to Governor Lee, expressing his appreciation to be considered for these federal positions, but declining each and every one of them. Now we see a desk that is kind of unique because of the document compartments that are attached to it. Now, this desk was believed to have belonged to John Henry, and it was recently donated by a Patrick Henry descendant. And it's very likely that while John Henry lived here at Red Hill, that it was in this very room where the desk resided. This is what we commonly refer to as the law license to practice in Goochland County. That's not exactly what it was. This is more of a registry entry that allowed Patrick to practice in Goochland. He presented his license to the clerk in the county, and then the clerk would fill out the appropriate paperwork and entry into this journal. What's interesting about this entry is that it's the only documentation that we have of who signed Patrick Henry's law license in Williamsburg. And the names that are in this registry are George Wythe and John Randolph. Now, that's a little bit different than the testimonies that Thomas Jefferson gave. He, in his correspondences, he says that it was George Wythe, John Randolph, his brother Peyton Randolph, and Robert Carter Nichols. So whether or not those others were actually part of the process, we really don't know. All we know is that when Patrick Henry presented his license to practice law in Goochland County, the clerk recorded that George Wythe and John Randolph signed Patrick's license. This side of the law office is interpreted more as sleeping quarters. Now, we don't know exactly how the law office was laid out in Patrick Henry's time, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that some of the older kids like Patrick Jr. or Fayette or Alexander, Nathaniel West, or even Johnny Christian, who was Patrick's nephew, it's not out of the question that some of these older kids probably slept out here in the law office on occasion. So that's what this room is set up for demonstrating different sleeping arrangements that might have happened here at Red Hill. After all, we have to remember that there were possibly 10, 11, 12 people living in the Henry house at one time.